female stars. Sakina, here we are.
Oh, she's really bold.
Nice, thank you. Thank you. You see these lashes, brother? You don't
tell us
lashes.
secrets.
How much more trouble are you going to cause for the sister?
I think I'm gonna be, working it. Yeah, they got to prove it to me. Everybody's just this chaos, and it's like going to Comic-Con coming up in that Sleepy Hollow. Like, wait, am I in Comic-Con?
Yeah, now it's what's great about having a character, an actor who can command such authorities. The girls are going to have to prove themselves to her, and she has a legitimacy that in this world of Sleepy Hollow that's going to be, a real obstacle for them.
So can you talk a little bit about the history too? Will we see more of Abby and Jenny's mom, and will there be flashbacks? Is she really dead?
Oh, I can't really say that, but it's definitely established that I had a connection to her mother, and that the mother made some serious choices in her life that are, Isn't it so interesting, this show, that the mothers make all these choices? There's so much. Did you think about that? Is that like, it's such a fascinating theme for me, because you have all this regret.
Yeah.
And you have all this choices in a terrible moment when you have to make a terrible. It's not Sophie's choice, but it's a terrible choice that they make, and I feel like that makes the whole show so rich.
Yeah, everything can be traced back in some form or another to Katrina's choices and
the mother's choices, right?
Abby's mother's choices.
Right.
We will. There's an arc this season with Abby's mother, so we'll definitely get to see her coming up, and it'll be threaded throughout the season. There's a very big episode coming up, 9, all about the mother, taking place in Terrytown Psychiatric.
What can we expect?
Crazy town.
This season with, we've already had a couple episodes aired. It's already getting completely insane. You have undead fighting another person losing a head. What else can we expect that will just ramp up everything we haven't seen prior this season?
I like to think that every episode has its own batshit craziness. And Monday's episode, we certainly do that with our spin on the Pied Piper. I mean, what's really fun for me about the show is getting to integrate these moments of history and, recontextualizing what we thought happened during the Revolutionary War. So, last week we got to see Benedict Arnold.
Did he emphasize Dick? I don't know. I just heard that. That was so weird. And as soon as he said, Benedict, no, not Franklin. Okay, sorry.
Wasn't there a secret about the mother that was just let out, like on the episode? I can't remember exactly.
Well, I think that the fact that I knew her and I had been responsible for putting the mother in the psychiatric institute.
Okay, that's what it was. Yes.
Yeah.
Jenny recently found out that news. Will we use her more as a focal point to learn more about their parents, Abby's and Jenny's parents that aren't around anymore? Will that happen?
Well, the focal point is their parents are not the focal point. The focal point is their relationship,
right,
and how they're going to learn to be attached to each other again. Because there's so much anger, and I think that happens in this season. You just figure out a way to be with each other.
I mean, this season, the first season was so much of Abby and Crane just kind of catching up and figuring out what it means to be a witness and what is this insane world that they both found themselves in. Season 2, they're really trying to get ahead of that curve. They are digging into their own family histories. They're really embracing their role as witnesses and learning to try to kick ass with it.
Mm-hmm. As a team.
Yeah.
But from a showrunner's point of view, Mark, is there a sort of a tightrope to walk in terms of the show is really successful, so you want to keep those elements that people really like, but at the same time, as a showrunner, you want to try to bring in some interest, and as you say, batshit crazy elements to keep it cool.
Yeah, always. I mean, I think the core elements of the show are so fun that we had no problem making 18 episodes this season when our order got increased. I mean, that actually, I saw that as a really good thing, because the amount of story that we wanted to tell for the second season really, can be done in that without trying to diminish. Sometimes you're always facing this issue when you're crafting shows of how to make every episode feel like a finale, feel important, and keep that story going. and it's hard to keep that level of intensity. And I feel like with 18, we've really managed a nice mix of stories, so that some Monday night's episode is a little bit more standalone. We focus on the town of Sleepy Hollow and this character we created, the Pied Piper, our version of the Pied Piper. But then the next week gets into a little bit more serialized element and a creature that's come from Crane's past, which is actually a woman that he used to date back in England.
It's so fantastic.
Are you getting flooded with requests from actors to do guest spots and everything? Are they beating down your door now that?
Yeah, you know, that is a nice thing in
Interesting question.
season 2 with some success. We have had, and I'm hoping actually we'll get to announce a couple. We have like Heather Lind, who you may know from Turn, plays this woman from Crane's past in next week's episode. Carolyn Ford is coming up in an episode. She gets to play a succubus, which is really cool. And again, our version of a succubus, so it's going to be cool.
I remember when this audition came up, I wanted this part so badly. And I know this casting person for like 15 years, and at the end of the audition I said, I've never said this to you, but I really think I would be great for this part. Like, I've never said that in my life!
Little did she know we were seeking her out.
I didn't know! Nice!
I thought the Judas coin was such an awesome touch this season. Are there any other kind of religious artifacts or relics that are going to come into play this season that you're able to tease?
Yes.
Yeah.
One of the things we're trying to do in this season is not just make it about any one religion.
Exactly.
And so it's kind of a multicultural approach or pantheistic approach. So we take from the Bible, we take from, we have a story coming up that focuses on an artifact from India. We have something else that is really, it's kind of rooted in an offshoot of an apocryphal, so it's kind of a recently discovered book from the New Testament. We're really trying to expand that, and that also plays into a new character we have this year.
Oh,
Matt
who?
Barr.
The tasty Matt Barr? Yeah.
Yeah, you'll see more of him in tomorrow night's episode. But he's an artifacts dealer, and so one of the things we really wanted to do this season was try to build on that and have artifacts and build from different cultures. But
I have to say, watching the show, you're like, wait, I feel like I'm memorizing history that's sort of incorrect. And you watch shows and you're like, oh, I learned a lot, and oh, it's not real.
Do you feel like
we always start with something that's real.
I know, and then you fuck it up for us.
a kernel of truth before we go into Crazy Town.
Until you
There's
pop
always
And do you feel like that's what draws people in is the history of as you said, using diverse religions and using different kinds of history? Do you feel like that what draws people in even more as they're learning more things and then wanting to know more about the characters and the way it links up to them?
I hope so. I mean, it's fun for me to learn it, and then it's fun for me to take it in a way that still is entertaining. If it just remained the hard facts of, oh, here is an artifact from that was mentioned in the Bible, I don't think it would. It's not entertaining. Then you could watch it on another channel. But
do you have professors calling you up? Sorry, Professor Winkeldimer from Princeton calling to. I'm sure they must be pissed. They're like, this is messing up my students' minds.
One of my favorite recurring themes in the show is Ichabod's inability to understand basic modern life.
Oh yeah.
What are your favorite individual one-liners or moments of Ichabod
Like
discovering something that's insane,
Oh my God,
the
they're
bank
all so
or
fabulous.
pavement?
I'm just thinking of the most recent one about the gay marriage thing, and it was the hats that he was asking about. That's pretty great. Oh, you thinking?
I mean, the first one I got to do was the donut tax in the first episode. So that one is just because that's when I also realized just how fun they were. But we have some great ones coming up this year. I think in a couple of weeks we'll get to see him learn modern yoga. Coming a little bit down the pipe, we have one where he goes and learns about karaoke. And I think music in general is something. I mean, there are so many of these, cranisms or man-at-a-time moments, but I think him getting to experience the expansion of music and sort of the way that art form has grown in America is really fun. So
I know the one where he was doing the selfie or whatever when he was in that was hilarious.
I like when she finally tries to get him to change his clothes.
Yeah.
And he puts on
Skinny jeans,
and he's like freaked out about it.
Mark, you said that earlier that having a couple of extra episodes was going to allow you to do a bit more this season. What actually is that allowing you to do? Are you talking about more of a mythology, or more interesting things that you just couldn't pack in if you didn't?
Both. I mean, there were some episodes last season that we were, initially brainstorming about. Oh, that's great, but it really feels kind of standalone. Doesn't quite link into the mythology. So we've been able to do a couple of those episodes that are just kind of in between the apocalypse. Here's just another strange creature that popped out, and then we've been able to tie that in. The other thing, just in thinking about season 2, 18 episodes, we're doing 11 straight. So they're 11 weeks uninterrupted. So we have kind of 2 halves of the season. So we've really ramped very hard into a mid-season finale, and then we pick that up character time 6 weeks later, and then do 7 more in a row. And that, just in getting to think about the season that way, has been fun.
Okay, great. Thank you guys
Thank you so much. It was nice meeting you all. Stay safe. Thank you. I got done.